They stand like statues. They do not flinch when tourists wave cameras inches from their faces. They do not smile, do not speak, do not acknowledge the world moving around them. To those passing by, they are part of the scenery, a living monument in uniform. But beneath that stillness lies a discipline most of us will never understand. The day begins long before the public arrives. While the city sleeps, royal guards wake in darkness. There is no snooze button, no casual morning. Every movement follows protocol established over centuries. Boots are polished until they reflect light like mirrors. Brass buttons are checked for the slightest tarnish. Uniforms are inspected with a scrutiny that would exhaust most people before breakfast. A single loose thread, a collar slightly askew, a crease that isn't razor sharp, any of these can result in being sent back to quarters. This is not about vanity. This is about representing something larger than oneself. Before they take their posts, there is inspection. Senior officers move down the line with eyes trained to catch imperfection. They check posture, alignment, the angle of a cap, the polish on a buckle. They examine rifles, checking that each component is clean and functional, even though these weapons will likely never be fired on duty. The guards stand rigid, breathing shallow, eyes forward. To pass inspection is not praise. It is expectation. To fail is to let down, not just yourself, but everyone who has worn the uniform before you. Then comes the march to position. The public sees the ceremony, the precision, the synchronized steps. What they don't see is the months of drilling that make it possible. Hours spent learning to move as one unit, to turn at exactly the same angle, to stop at precisely the same moment. The body learns through repetition until thought is no longer necessary. Muscle memory takes over. This is how they can maintain formations, even in rain, wind, or searing heat. Once at their post, the real test begins. Standing perfectly still for hours is not natural. The human body wants to shift weight, scratch an itch, adjust posture. The mind wants to wander. But a royal guard learns to master both. They develop techniques, mental exercises to stay alert, ways to distribute weight that reduce fatigue, methods of focusing vision that prevent dizziness. They endure summer heat in heavy wool uniforms. They withstand winter cold without shivering. Tourists may laugh, make faces, try to provoke reactions. The guard remains unmoved, not because they are unfeeling, but because they have trained themselves to place duty above discomfort. There are rules, so many rules. When to move, when to remain still, how to handle specific situations, what actions require breaking stance, what provocations must simply be endured. These rules exist for reasons that go back generations. They create consistency, maintain dignity, ensure safety. A guard must know them all. During their watch, supervisors may appear without warning, observing from a distance. Any deviation, any lapse in discipline, is noted. The hierarchy is clear and absolute. Junior guards learn from senior ones, not through casual conversation, but through example and strict mentoring. There is respect for rank, for experience, for those who have stood these same posts through countless rotations. Advancement comes not from ambition, but from proving, day after day, that you can be trusted with greater responsibility. No one cuts corners. No one looks for easy ways out. The culture demands excellence because anything less dishonors the role. What outsiders rarely consider are the night watches. When the crowds disappear and the city quiets, guards remain. These shifts test endurance differently. The darkness plays tricks on tired eyes. The silence amplifies every small sound. Alertness must be maintained even when nothing happens hour after hour. This is when true discipline reveals itself, not in front of cameras, but in the empty hours when no one is watching. Training never really ends. Between duties, there are drills, physical conditioning, tactical exercises, rehearsals for ceremonies. There is study of protocol, review of procedures, preparation for scenarios that may never occur but must be ready for nonetheless. Fitness standards remain high. Mental sharpness is tested regularly. A royal guard cannot coast on past achievement. Each day requires proving yourself again. The sacrifice is quieter than most people realize. These guards miss family gatherings because they cannot leave their post. They stand through personal discomfort, physical pain, emotional difficulty, because the duty does not pause for individual hardship. They accept that their service is anonymous. They are not individuals in those moments, but representatives of something enduring. Their names are not known, their faces hidden beneath ceremonial headwear. The reward is not recognition, but the knowledge of responsibility fulfilled. As the day ends and the next rotation arrives, there is a brief exchange, a nod, perhaps a few words confirming any relevant information. Then the guard steps down, returns to quarters, begins the process of removing the uniform with the same care it was put on. Tomorrow will be the same, and the day after. This is not a role for those who need variety or excitement. It is a commitment to constancy. What can we learn from those who stand in silence while the world rushes past? They teach us that true strength is often invisible. That discipline is not restriction, but freedom from the tyranny of impulse. That patience is a skill that can be developed, not just a trait you either have or lack. They remind us that some things are worth doing even when no one applauds. That responsibility often means choosing duty over comfort. And that quiet service has its own dignity. In a world that celebrates self-expression and individualism, they show us the power of subordinating the self to something greater. They demonstrate that restraint is not weakness, but mastery. That standing still can require more courage than moving forward. That the unseen hours matter as much as the public moments. The next time you see a royal guard standing motionless at their post, remember, what looks like stillness is actually strength. What appears simple is the result of extraordinary discipline, and what seems like just another day is actually a testament to human capacity for dedication, endurance, and silent excellence. Their service asks nothing from us, except perhaps to consider whether we bring that same level of commitment to our own responsibilities, whatever and wherever they may be.